We are tracking the latest on a shooting outside the White House. Late today, the news broke on live television just in the last hour and a half. Just as the U.S. president was giving a briefing to media, he was abruptly escorted by a Secret Service agent out of the briefing room. Take a look.
New record in NASDAQ and the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones are going to be, the way they're going, it looks like they're just about going to be topping records hopefully soon. Excuse me? Excuse me.
All right, for more on this, we've reached Reuters White House correspondent Jeff Mason live in Washington. Jeff, you were in the room when all of this happened. What was it like from your vantage point, and what happened?
Well, it was certainly unusual. I think that's the only time I've ever experienced that, where the president has been asked by the Secret Service to step away from the podium because of a risk or a shooting risk. What happened is, you saw the clip just now, that there was apparently a shooting near the White House. The president came back after he was taken out by the Secret Service and told us that there had been a suspect who was shot. He didn't have a whole lot of information about that person, but he said that the person had been shot by Secret Service, law enforcement, and had been taken to the hospital. Just recently, the Secret Service, just within the last few minutes, put out a tweet saying that that there had been an officer-involved shooting at the corner of 17th and Pennsylvania. Now, those are two streets that are just about a block away from the White House. So very, very close. But no one here was hurt. The president was not hurt, and he did resume his briefing.
All right, and no details yet on what caused the shooting to happen.
No details on that yet, no. It does sound as though it was the Secret Service or law enforcement who shot this individual. We have not heard either from the president or from the Secret Service that person did any shooting, but we'll have to wait and see what kind of details we get on that later.
Right. The president actually began his news conference talking about the potential for mail-in voter fraud. What was he talking about?
So the president has been really railing against mail-in voting. He sees that as a threat to the election system. Democrats and critics would say that he probably sees it as a threat to his re-election. This is a big issue in 2020 in particular because so many people may not want to go to the polls in November physically because of the coronavirus and the risk of spreading that virus and catching that virus. So Democrats have been pushing for an increase in mail-in voting and funding for that. The president has spent quite a bit of time lately saying that he doesn't like that, and much more than just that he doesn't like it. He's been trying to undermine it by saying the Postal Service is not prepared for that kind of influx of mail-in voting. And today he said that there had been some fraud with regard to ballots in a state near here, the state of Virginia.
All right. Any more talk of him postponing the election?
No, he sort of raised that as a question mark in a tweet about a week and a half ago, but that was roundly criticized and pushed aside by both Democrats and Republicans. He himself is not able to just move the election, and that is not something that has come up since then. One
of the biggest stories in your country today is that the U.S. now has 5 million cases of coronavirus, a quarter of all cases, maybe a little bit more, of all cases across the world, even though it accounts for only 4% of the global population. What's the latest on that?
Well, the president did discuss the virus. He continues to put a more positive spin on the administration's response and the state of the pandemic in this country than many others and certainly many critics have been seeing or agreeing with. He did address the pandemic earlier, as you said in the briefing. He talked again about what he views as the successful response by the White House with regard to things like ventilators and getting equipment and spoke optimistically about a vaccine being ready before the end of the year and perhaps deployed before then. Health professionals don't share at least the same level of optimism on that. They have said that a vaccine is likely perhaps by the end of the year, more likely beginning of next year, but it's still going to be some time.
All right, Reuters White House correspondent Jeff Mason joining me live from Washington. Jeff, thank you.
Mm-hmm.